Good day, everyone, and welcome back to the Covenant Health Network orientation. Today we will be going over and introducing Alliance Purchasing Network. Our agenda today will cover introductions of myself, a brief overview of Covenant Health Network and its history. We'll discuss Alliance Purchasing Network, and then we'll wrap that all up with next steps on how you can get involved. Before we get into Covenant Health Network and APN, I just want to take a minute and introduce you to myself. My name is Scott Modica. I'm the Director of Business Development at APN. I run the day-to-day operations, and I will be your main touch point with APN. My background, I joined APN in June of 2020. Before that, I was a professor of healthcare marketing at KGI, and I've taught at Northeastern before that. I sit on the editorial boards of the Journal of Business Research and the Journal of Retailing. I'm a member of the Commercial Advisory Board for BlockCube, which is a startup looking to put clinical trials on the blockchain to increase security and efficiency of trials. In terms of hobbies, I do a lot of hiking. I like the outdoors. I grew up in the Northeast, so I used to go up to the White Mountains in New Hampshire a lot. I like to read and tinker around with technology. Covenant Health Network is a not-for-profit post-acute care delivery system. It was founded in 1997, and today we encompass more than 111 senior care facilities across 5 states. The vision of Covenant Health Network is that we would design and create an integrated care delivery system that would allow seamless access for seniors within the network to post-acute care services, while at the same time improving quality and reducing costs to members of that network. We do this through a number of different channels. Today we're going to be focusing on the group purchasing organization, Alliance Purchasing Network. Let's start with an overview of APN, or Alliance Purchasing Network. In 2004, 4 provider networks came together and partnered to create a nonprofit group purchasing organization in which their member organizations would bind together and use their group purchasing power to get better contracts than they could on their own. This network is unique in that it has purely a long-term care post-acute focus. So APN is not trying to get into hospitals. Our focus isn't on the acute space. It's purely on the nonprofit long-term care facilities. Over 16 years, our network has grown to more than 550 members across 17 states. And we've been able to donate more than 25 million back to member facilities. Let's talk about some of the tangible and intangible benefits that come with APN and why APN stands apart from other GPOs that you may be able to work with. I think one of the big things is to keep in mind that because APN is a nonprofit, our main commitment is not to stockholders, but to the mission, which is supporting you. And you really see that in the benefits that are derived from the GPO. So for example, most GPOs are going to charge you between $25,000 to $30,000 a year to be a member. We don't have any dues. We negotiate on your behalf extremely aggressively to make sure that you have competitive pricing that matches or beats the market. And then on top of that, we give you the opportunity to earn distributions. We've donated back over $25 million to members over 16 years, and this is something that we're particularly proud of. And we'll talk more about those distributions in a couple minutes. In terms of intangible benefits, we realize that you are really pressed for time, especially considering everything that's going on in our space today. And so one of the benefits that you derive from APN is we don't just work with any vendor that contacts us. We mainly employ a sole source model in which we will explore an area and identify and vet vendors in that space and identify the best vendor in terms of pricing, quality of the product and service, and their customer service, and bring them into the network. So you know that if you are working with an APN vendor, that you are going to have a good experience. Second, working with APN allows you to stay cutting edge. Look, no one has time with the explosion in technology to meet with all the different vendors and pilot them in your facility to see which would work best for you. And that's where APN comes in. We meet with a number of vendors every month and are constantly evaluating the new technologies to separate the wheat from the chaff. One good example of that is Ava, which is a vendor that joined in 2020. Ava uses Amazon Alexa devices to customize workflows and optimize how your staff work. So for example, instead of a patient pressing a button and you having to come in and find out what they need, they can say, Alexa, I'm cold, and she will automatically notify the right staff member that a blanket is needed and optimize that within the workflow. APN recently launched a members blog in which we feature a number of these new vendors. We also keep you updated in terms of PPE availability from different vendors. And finally, you gain a strategic partner. So we know that the future of healthcare and the post-acute space is changing. At APN, we work with our members to identify new vendors. Often, when you see a new vendor come into a space or into the network, this is because a member has initiated that. So we like to work very closely with you throughout. So again, if there is a specific need that you have that you don't see within the APN vendors, please feel free to reach out to me. And we'll start looking for that vendor for you today. As I mentioned previously, one of the things that really sets APN apart is that we are a nonprofit GPO. That means that we are not evaluated or held to how much value is created for our shareholders and how much money is sent back to them, but how much money is donated to our members and how much in terms of fees and rebates we can return to you. As I mentioned previously, since 2004, we've been able to donate $25 million back to members. In fact, last year we donated back more than $2 million. And there are two main channels that those donations come through. Number one, 100% of all manufacturer rebates are donated back to member facilities. And number two, of the GPO fees that we earn, a small percentage are taken out to cover operational costs, and the rest are donated back to you. So that's up to 85%, or 6 out of every $7 that we have come in terms of GPO fees are then donated back to you. And this can become a substantial savings for. Let's talk about how to get started with APN. So first thing that I'd like you to do is pause this video and go to alliancepurchasing.org and create a member account, and then drop me an email at smonica@covenanthealthnetwork.org, and I'll be sure to personally help you through this process. Okay, now that you've created your account and dropped me an email, the next thing you're going to want to do is think about the vendors that you would like to use. We've put a few of the most common vendors on the screen here. We also have a group purchasing guide that has a complete list of our vendors. This is available on our website, and I'll send this to you directly as well when I receive your email. In terms of initiating a relationship with a new vendor, we've boiled it down into a 4-step process to make it as easy as possible for you. Number one, you need to reach out to APN and let them know the vendors that you'd like to utilize. We will generate letters of participation for you that notify both the GPO and the vendor that you would like to participate in APN's contracted pricing. So we'll send you those one-page contracts letters. You sign them, you send them back to APN, and then we process it with the vendor. The vendor will then have a salesperson get in touch with you and finalize the relationship. You'll need to identify a point person that will work both with APN and the vendor. And this point person will also be responsible for tracking utilization. APN receives reports from the vendors, either monthly or quarterly, in terms of sales, and we send those back to you. It's your responsibility to confirm that those numbers are correct. And then finally, all you need to do is if you have any concerns, you want to schedule a demo, if you're interested in looking for vendors that are not currently in the vendor guidebook, just drop an email to scottmodica@APN and we'll be happy to help you out. Thank you everyone for completing this Alliance Purchasing Network orientation. Again, I encourage you to go to alliancepurchasing.org to create a member account, and if you haven't already, drop me an email at smodica@covenanthealthnetwork.org. As you complete more and more of these orientations, we hope that the mission of Covenant Health Network to support you and to see you succeed becomes clearer. Again, most of our services are free to members. If you're not sure that we can help, or if you have a problem, contact us, drop us an email, send us a phone number. There's a number of things that Covenant does that are beyond what we're able to cover in these brief orientations. But in terms of APN, I want to reiterate again, you're already a member of APN through your facility, so we encourage you to take advantage of that. We're a national group purchasing organization. We don't have any dues. We have aggressive pricing, and you have an opportunity to earn substantial distributions. Again, up to 6 out of every $7 that we receive in GPO fees are donated back to members, and 100% of manufacturers' rebates are returned to you as well. Thank you for spending your time with us, and again, feel free to reach out anytime with any questions that you have.